It looks to many as a selfish and weak union. This is something personal and not anything that has to do with the country or the workers. Why is the labor unions not taking the path of seeking redress in court for something that has to do with an individual of your union?
Thank you, my brother, and thank you for the question or the inquiry. It's a clear indication that people, whoever is thinking in that line, doesn't understand what the trade unions mean and what we stand for. The president of NLC didn't go to Owerri as a private citizen. He went to Owerri as leader of the trade unions in Nigeria on a mission, a trade union action in furtherance of a National Executive Council meeting, joint meeting of the two labor centers, the largest actually in Africa, with a view to seeking redress for perceived wrongs, perceived anti-union, anti-worker stance and posturing of the Imo State government. So a private citizen, Ajero, if assaulted or if a tort is perpetrated on him, will go to court. But when you get involved in anti-union activity, when you get entangled in efforts to brutalize union leaders for union activity, the response is a trade union action. The response will be a deepening of social dialogue to have that result. So we are not politicians that people will challenge, go to court, go to court. It's not about going to court. We should have a culture of social dialogue. And as far as the world of work is concerned, it is based on a tripod: the government, the employer, and the worker. And what the ILO, the oldest agency of the United Nations, has deepened after the Second World War, is to get people to discuss, to get people to have conversations, not to be beaten up, not to be dehumanized, not to be threatened, go to court, go to court. No, the attitude is to have people have a conversation around the table. And that's what we've been seeking with government, a roundtable discussion, a dialogue as social partners, and not bullying. What we are having is a return to the SARS situation, where people go about hooded, brutalizing citizens, and then you are told to go seek redress in court. Right. That is not what our courts are meant for. Our courts are not supposed to be blanket cover for evil. Our courts are supposed to do what courts do, not as a cover-up for executive recklessness and evil done by state. No.
Speaking of the court, the industrial court had ruled that the NLC TUC should not embark on any strike, that it would be unlawful if you go on strike. I mean, with your plan to start midnight today with that indefinite strike, does it not breach the law? Is it not against the directive of the court?
Which directive? Courts are supposed to be, you have case amongst parties. We're not aware that we're in court with anybody. If anybody takes us to court, we'll respond to them in court. All we're doing is trying to get the federal government to respect the tripod system of social dialogue, to appreciate the need for discussion and not avoidance, to appreciate the need for safe work environment, to appreciate the need that a worker is worthy of his wages. For over 3.5 years, workers in Imo State have been dehumanized. They've been without salaries. They've been called ghost workers. And all we talk about, why hasn't anybody put the issue of the workers on the front burner? We've been crying over this, and people keep telling you when is the right time. When is the right time? We confronted Governor Hope Uzodinma 2021. When is the right time? We confronted him 2022. When is the right time? We confronted him 2023. When is the right time? When is the right time for the right thing to be done? than for us to continue in this trajectory of violence. He had moved from violating the rights and brutalizing workers to their leadership, to our properties in Imo, and now to the leader of the largest center in Africa.
Absolutely, if I may butt in again, I mean, you did mention that, look, what happened in Imo State. Ajero was attacked in Imo State, and some would say it is only logical that you take your case against the government of Imo State and not make it a national issue.
The government of Imo State does not have a state police except the talks they are carrying around. We have a federal police that supervised the brutalization of the president of Nigerian Labour Congress. So we don't have, it wasn't the local vigilante. We have named names of federal police. So are we discussing jurisdiction here? It's a federal matter. When it was a local matter, we went to Imo State to resolve a local matter. But the Nigerian police made it a federal matter by the way they maltreated and brutalized not just the NLC president, other workers were brutalized. The NLC president is just the symbol of what transpired. So clearly for us, all we have requested was an independent investigation into what transpired. And we have received a very sickening, cold silence. And for Christ's sake, you don't expect us to turn it to an NSAS riot for you to hear the Nigerian workers. If you can't hear the Nigerian workers, if an organized group like the NLC, like the TUC, can be reduced to rubbles, the way the government has gone about this, then you will then know that our kids that were turned to dust in the toll gate of Lagos clearly had something to say. So for us, we turn the wheels, we turn the production of the country. So we are not going to sit back and allow people turn a civilized society to survival of the fittest, the brute. All right. No,
Mr.
No, we want justice.
Following the shutting down of the airport, that there is a danger that the NLC TUC may just lose the sympathies of the Nigerian public.
Are you relying on you said they are looking for sympathy and you said they are losing it? Are we looking for it or we are losing it? We are not interested in sympathy. We are interested in what is right. We are interested in redressing a wrong. It's not about sympathy. The man that was brutalized is a human being. If you don't have sympathy for a human being, if you don't understand that there are consequences for brutalization of a fellow human being. There are consequences for brutalization of a human being. Then, when you criminally abduct a citizen, you don't need sympathy. You need justice.